G'day and welcome back to Torment Thursday. Last time round we got ourselves a new companion, this fine purple and orange fella here, Tiber, or Tiber, and we had a fascinating conversation with this fellow over here called the Genocide. And the plan now was to actually, I guess, progress on Tiber's quest somewhat. There's some talking to people we could be doing. There's certainly more to see around here. Alright, actually let's explore here a bit more before we do that quest. In front of you is a weary traveller whose grim visage is mostly obscured by a pointy hat. Upon closer inspection, the lines on his face indicate he has seen much and has many tales to tell. Hello there, friend. Here to see the Numenera, my friend in the cage over there, or are you just looking to spend a word or two? You have the look of a storyteller about you. Do I? He strokes his chin, clearly flattered. Well, I will confess to a certain easiness around the spoken word, but I have no talent for crafting fiction, friend. For me, it's truth or silence. The ghost of a smile rises on his well-worn face. Fortunately, I've had more of a fantastical life than most. I have some questions about your Numenera. He's far from mine, friend, Elginto says with a raspy chuckle, as you'll see if you get too close to his cage. Go on, ask your friends. What is a Numenera, anyway? Biomechanical union of stubborn curiosity and frothing malice. Who made them, no one can say, but they cannot be trusted or befriended. Cross their paths or thwart their incomprehensible whims, and they'll kill you if they can. Wait, you called the creature he, is it male? Could be female or genderless, or many-gendered. Who can say? I have our friend imprisoned, and I feel better about that fact if I don't call him it. How did you capture it? I suppose you could blame luck. Little early to call it good or bad, though. His eyes seek the sky as he begins his story. I was working on, well, call it a trap, in a valley and through some nameless ruin. Xanadu was off hunting for dinner, and I work in a daze. I always do when I'm concentrating. Smile flits across his face. Near sunset, the trap was still in pieces, and I heard Xanadu roaring my name. I turned just in time to see our guest bearing down on me. The creature's volley of molten energy cracked off the personal barrier I'd left active while building the trap, but I knew it couldn't hold. Then Xanadu leapt off the valley edge onto the Numenera's back, bashing it with his hammer. It shrieked, and then night fell, and the creature went still. Elginto shrugged. I worked frantically. I touch frantically, I admit, to finish the trap. It hadn't been designed for our guest, but as you can see, it worked. Lucky it did. It gives me confidence for our trip back to Lorik, too. How'd you get it into the city? A fair question, he says, casting a lazy glance back at the cage, but a longer answer, for not as interesting as I'd like. Let's say that the trap is more collapsible than it appears. What do you plan on doing it with it when you're done showing it off? We're likely to release it and run as if every kind of demon in the world is after us. We're not trappers, see, we're explorers. We're only in this to save up some coin for a journey across a long patch of ground. He rubs the back of his neck. Not that our motives make much difference to our guest. He'll want to boil our skins once we let him go. Can't say I blame him. Should do it at night, but even then I expect he'll try to kill us. I wanted to ask you about something else. I'm looking for someone who can repair a complicated device. Game, please. What are you doing? There we go. Good. It must be in desperate shape if you're patrolling the circus, talking to strangers. It says, do you have a piece of the device? Maybe something I can offer my opinion on? Perception. The man's face carries a impenetrable nonchalance of a lifelong gambler. Even so, you spot a hint of curiosity, hunger even. deep in his glittering eyes. Perhaps I could use it to improve the trap. No. Can't help you fix something I've never seen. Sorry, friend. I want to see the creature up close. Your curiosity does you credit, friend. It'll only cost you 100 shins. Let's go with persuasion. In fact, we can just spend, I think it'll be a single point less to automatically succeed. El Junto surveys you with an unreadable gambler's stare, stroking his chin with a cracked thumb. Finally, he smiles. Always nice to meet a fellow barterer, he says, and takes your money. Visit our guest whenever you're ready. Goodbye. So yeah, no, that literally cost us nothing because of, I guess, our edge. I'm gonna have the game pause for a bit because it takes a while to load this stuff up. But, come on, we can do it. We can totally do it. I believe in you, Numenera. Last time it loads the inventory is always a pain. So we've got 2 edge, so the activation cost is dropped by 2. Thought it was, and I guess it's only 2 points to put the first level of effort in. Yes, right. So yeah, it is literally free to use a level of effort on intellect, which is the most we can do as a tier 1 character that hasn't spent any upgrade points on that. The cage in which the creature floats is a simple frame that contains a shimmering, nearly transparent cylinder of energy. It emits a low hum, barely audible, that sets your teeth on edge. The container is a delicate filigree of ornate materials with no apparent controls. Surely they must be hidden somewhere in the traceries and protrusions of the wirework. You approach the cage cautiously. The monster within looks like a fungal blob mated with a muscular ichthyoid. Its multiple tentacles terminate in syringes, needles, and injectors. The mass sits atop and is integrated with a floating orb of some type. It seems to be both mechanical and biological, with one system flowing smoothly into the next. A creature from some mad nightmare. The energy field darkens protectively and automatically as the creature throws itself at its walls, thrashing and striking mindlessly with its needle-tipped tentacles. The darkening is an almost strobe-like effect. Even as you watch, one of the tentacles coils back and blasts furious plasma at the walls of its cage. The cage holds, shields dim to prevent any radiation from the blast escaping. Examine the cage. The cage appears to be made of a mixture of synth, spun, strong glass, and a lightweight metal intricately embroidered to create mind-warping patterns, evocative and strange. Energy shifts and flickers amongst the crevices, somehow being shaped by the form of the materials. Your closer examination reveals a wood panel worked cunningly into the frame of the cage. Some of the filigrees here are worn smooth as if slowly eroded by friction. Perhaps these are the controls. Touch the cage. Reach out to touch the cage, your fingers hovering over some of the cunningly worked materials. Then you lay your hands on the cage, close the circuit and the energy somewhere, become a part of it, and strange energies jolt through your body. The shock hurls you away from the cage. Oof. That cocks you got no one to blame but yourself, you stupid tulk. That's fair enough. Who are you? Redoubles its effort. How did you come to be here? Draws away from the edge of the energy field as if gathering its thoughts, and then launches itself at you, rebounding off the deceptive solidity of the cage. Its tentacles flail wildly, the needles at the tips glinting and oozing. What can you tell me of this place? The orb. A dim light builds underneath the Nycthemeron. The orb at its base glowing brighter and brighter. 2 tentacles stroke it and they pull out a streamer of bright lightning. They stretch it between themselves, building in intensity, then hurl it at you. The walls of the cage darken instantly, and when they lighten, you see the monster within flailing and crashing fruitlessly against its invisible walls. Can you understand me at all? Nope. Alright, let's examine the cage again. Let's touch the smooth spots. Cage's hum dips low for a moment, throbbing almost at the limit of your hearing. Your bones and teeth ache briefly, and everyone within 3 meters of the cage claps their head to the hands to the ears. You trying to kill us? Leave the cage alone. Do you even know what'll happen if that thing gets free? Yeah, so I could attempt to free him. You're welcome to look again. Let's talk to Canadu. This large, bald, broad-shouldered man turns to face you. You freeze. It's not his dark cloak or his sledgehammer. That's beneath his moustache and goatee. He's so ugly he'd scare his own mother in a dark alley. Gives you an abrupt nod, and you get the distinct impression that here stands a man who enjoys the boredom of standing guard in the company of his own thoughts. How does that cage hold the thing? Prisoner. Don't know, he says. This time he doesn't bother looking away. El Ginto built it. Where do you and your partner come from? Lorik, a city in the beyond, packed with blood-mad priests, giant razor cats, and drit. Lots of drit. Don't miss it. But El Ginto does. If you want stories, he's the one to ask. Okay. So I'm pretty sure this is like the first zone you're meant to run into when you enter this area. But of course, because we entered unconscious, we never did that. Nearly every inch of this merchant's body is covered in tightly wound robes and furs. A hood obscures its head and a mask conceals its face. It caresses a cracked ancient scroll with dark fingers. It notices you and gently taps its similarly dressed companion on the shoulder, leaving a smudge of fibrous ink. Belinda recognized the thief at once, the creature says, crossing its swaddled arms. Perhaps he imagined that by speaking with Steristi, he would evade Belinda's notice. Unfortunately for him, nothing ever did. Watch Steristi work. The merchant's spread-fingered hands glide over a faded parchment with the faint sounds of quill scratching. Vibrant letters in an unfamiliar tongue appear in their wake. Watch more. Yeah. Okay. That's just the same thing. Dark letters emerge from the shadow of the hand as if pulled from the page. Why is your partner narrating me? He ignores you. Why don't you talk? Goodbye. Let's talk to Felinda. The thief returned, the merchant says. Felinda wondered why, but did not ask. Neither Felinda nor Steristi could believe it. That the thief had returned. Had he come in shame, ready to return what he had taken? No, his hands were empty, his expression baffled. Perhaps the thief had simply forgotten to return what he borrowed, but this made him no less a thief. Must have met the previous inhabitant of this body. What did he take? The thief asked. Belinda faltered, but only for a moment. The merchant's memory was as organized as a library shelf, and it remembered this face, twisted with the desire for the very book in question. It remembered the same voice making promises it had apparently no intent of keeping. His lies were more convincing before, Felinda thought. It's an interesting thought to have. I mean, that is definitely not what you normally expect to see. 10 years ago, this thief had borrowed a book. Belinda wondered if this scoundrel was possibly unfamiliar with the definition of the word. It did not mean taking a thing and keeping it, after all. Steristi pointedly returns to his work, ignoring you both. Belinda sighs, massaging its temples with gloved hands. But in the end, Belinda took a deep, deep breath and asked the thief to simply return the sealed and long overdue book with the 5-colored sigil on its cover. You know what? Sure, we'll try and find the book. The thief declared, and Belinda was satisfied. Temporarily. Why do you narrate everything I say? The thief said, but Belinda knew from long experience that there was no explaining it. The merchant kneels before a bookshelf and jams book after book into the remaining spaces. This frustrated Belinda. After all, the two merchants were creatures of words bound in metal and cloth. Whenever Belinda tried to bend these same words into explanations and answers, they crumbled and fell apart. They could not fold themselves around the truth. And so Belinda said nothing. And even in saying nothing, you will think I am speaking. Belinda thought. Okay, Did we talk to you last time? Oh, that's the prophecy fella. I guess this would lead down to the rift? So if I do this, does it tell me where? Or does it just take me there? I think it just takes me there. Yeah, this takes us straight back to the rift. Reef. I think the sensible approach. I didn't realize that this was literally the entrance to Sega's. My computer does not like this. You can see. Wonder if this is a good predictor of a combat space. Because there's a bunch of different things to interact with. Okay, if we head over here, we know how to get in. I don't remember myself how to get in. But I did want to go in here. And we need to go in here. It is for a quest. The metal door is thick, heavy, and unmarked by time. Double rows of circular bumps run horizontally and vertically across its surface. As you approach the door, one of the bumps suddenly slides open, revealing a circular aperture. A few tiny waving strands of synth emerge from the hole. Hold them lock's-eye near the open aperture. The waving strands whip out, wrapping themselves around the eye. For a moment, the eye comes to life, buzzing and whispering, getting warmer in your hand. The synth fibers make soft, fluttery sounds in return. After a moment, they withdraw. The door slides open, and you step into the chamber beyond. Applying effort on attacks is critical to successes in crises. But of course, effectively, to do a decent hit, you're doing damage to yourself. So, Koro. The corpses of Murden's hunched bird-like abhumans litter the floor. Their wounds are fresh, left by blade and beam. The air smells of rust and blood. Koro awaits you on the other end with a hireling battered and bruised, clutching his bandaged side with a shaking hand. Even now he manages a cocky grin. Took you long enough, he says. We made a slight miscalculation, assuming the Middens were here were architects of Salamari's troubles. Coughs and continues. After we punished them for trespassing, we descended to the next level to look for stragglers, but instead we found what drove the Murdens up here. Heavily armed and hostile drones. As you can see, we had a rough time of it, left 2 dead down there. Should have been more careful. Can I help you with those wounds? These? They're nothing I can't treat myself. Now, if you still intend on reclaiming this place for Salamari, the drones are still down there. I believe they're infecting the systems with their minds, and they will defend their territory without mercy. Believe me. Good luck. So, I guess if we hadn't convinced Salamari to let Koro come down, then we would have had to deal with these Murdens. I really, they did... At least I interpreted some of the stuff about crises to basically mean there shouldn't be much, if any, filler combat. So I'm really hoping this is not like the start of a dungeon full of combat encounters. This Murden's been dead for at least a day or 2. The lower part of its body is missing, and the midsection has been torn open to get at the viscera inside. Murden's ragged corpse smells as foul as ever. Let's examine it. Burn marks speckle its robes. Lifting them carefully aside, you see the unhealed wounds beneath. It was probably killed by beam weapons, and none of these other Murdens were carrying any. Doesn't account for the other damage to the corpse. Flesh was torn from the creature in long strips. Since the Murden was trapped inside this antechamber with its fellows, you can guess what happened next. So, basically, these Murdens were trying to escape, and they couldn't. Let's see what this is. The lower level of this area is not included in the beta. Assume that you descended to the next level, defeated some dangerous enemies, and rendered it safe for Salamari to continue her work here. The following is what happens when you return to this chamber. Okay. I kind of like, to a certain extent, what you see here, where it's just like, okay, yeah, this was meant to happen. I barely beat them. How did you survive? Oh, luck and a handful of dead friends. That's how I survived. Never mind that, I have a favor to ask. Tell Salamari I helped you. I did, after all. These Murdens would have attacked you. I killed them first. We even destroyed a few of the drones before we fled. She wants to dismiss me. Help me change her mind. I'll tell you something I know about the Order of the Truth. You seem awfully concerned about her opinion. A good employer is hard to find these days, he said, studying the air above your head. And as clever and as beautiful as she is anyway. So the way you looked at her, and when you learned she knew me, you love her, don't you? His eyes widened and his mouth firms. Fine, I love her. There, I said it. Don't want to leave her side, even if she doesn't feel the same way. Oh, for the love of... I know at least 30 shapeshifters who charge reasonable hourly rates. And that's just off the top of my head. You don't need to stumble after a woman who has no interest in you. Have some pride, son. Pride is like free liquor, hardly worth the cost. You know what? I will. Whatever. Excellent. I'll hold you to that. Now the secret is promised. Lan Uring. The boy is a spy for the Mamavira. I'm not sure why. He loves the Order well enough, but I was going to blackmail him, but priorities change. See you back at the Order, Fallen Star. Okay. Well, that was a lot faster than I expected. But, so that... yeah, there definitely was or will be a combat encounter downstairs. I hope in some way it is an interesting encounter. Because I don't want to have to... I'm not after the combat. I mean, the combat seems okay. And turn-based combat, I'm reasonably happy with. It's less fiddly than real-time with pause, for example. But the combat isn't what I really want from this game. I want the setting exploration. But let's go to the Order of Truth. We also have another quest, the Taiba getting his friend less executed quest. Seems like a good idea. And you know, what's a bit of impersonating a city official between friends anyway? So we just keep pushing through. Yeah, that's exactly... So it's not really a typical entrance to the city or anything, but it is an entrance. These maps, and this will take a little while to load. These maps, I guess it's a little bit bigger than I was about to give it credit for. M will close the map again. I always expect there to be more to changing it. I mean, so far in this game we have had one combat, and that's because I deliberately avoided the second one. So I guess you could potentially have, and you could have certainly fought down in the Undercity. So I could have had 4 or 5 fights, I think, by this point, if I'd really worked at it. But instead, I've managed to avoid most of them, which is how I like it to go. Alrighty. Certainly seems to be loading faster. So we will chat to Salamari. I already knew that the boy was a spy. Ah, there you are. The Eye of Nox, please. You hand it over, she returns to her workstation, then gracefully inclines her head in Cora's direction. Was he of any use to you? Cora gives you a pleading look. Yes, he was. Very well, she sighs. Cora, you can stay. Do try to limit your failures in the future. The matters I care less about. Cora exhales all at once, nods in your direction. With that out of the way, here is a reward for your considerable effort. And thank you. Gained item, shattered eye powder. Gained 50 shims. A soldier problem, now I need help fixing the resonance chamber. Well, I remember what you told me. You built it using living crystals from a world called the Ascension. Were remarkably resistant to telling me what it was for, regardless of the interrogation methods I employed. At least the interrogation methods were exciting. You only said it would stop the sorrow and that none of your cast-offs could know about it, which seemed odd to me at the time. Escaping the sorrow would be in all your best interests, I would think. Have you spoken to the cast-off that helped you build it? That surly artificer? I forget his name. I only saw him once, when you and I were having breakfast in the ambiguous gardens. You know who I mean. The one with the machines in his body and the circuits on his flesh. When you don't respond, she says, "You never remember your cast-offs, do you? Speak to your little cult if you haven't already done. They always seem to know where your children are." Alright, so that was okay. Was there anything we needed from in here? Don't think so. So, what we'll do, and there's Calistage's desk, is we will go to the town hall, grab that stuff, and I think then we will probably wrap up for today. I think I will just aggressively at this point pursue the Sorrow Chamber. The Resonance Chamber, rather. So we go back to the circus. Whoops. My friend Orthfong at the Order of Truth was looking into something for me. I'd like to stop by there. Problem is most of the priests and I don't get along too well. Might not want to talk to me. Why won't they talk to you? Like I said, we don't get along. Yeah. Okay. I should talk to someone in the Order of Truth. And it's the clerk that I wanted to talk to. What is it this time? I'd like to talk to you about paperwork. Wait. Sorry, never mind. I wanted to first shift around things. I got a cipher. I don't want the cipher. 3 mental damage and +2 to all tasks. Thank you. Just didn't want the fettle. Hey, there we go. Talk to you about paperwork. Do we want to try for persuasion, or do we want to try for a stay of execution? I'm gonna go with this, and yeah, we'll just okay, great. Because look at all of these modifiers. Yeah. So I have natural charisma and elocutioner. I can spend 1 effort to give -3, and I've got a specialized skill, which is an asset that drops it by 2 levels. So basically, it means that I can trivially make this routine, and there we go. Success. The clerk hesitates for a moment, then shrugs. It happens that the letter was consigned to destruction by year's end. Anyway, given the confirmation of Carden's demands, with a snap of his finger, a letter appears, and he looks over. Yes, here we are. Quite the criminal he was, with no slouch in treason. But who am I to question the clemency of our peerless council? He hands it to you with a slight sniff. Whoop. You are a miracle, my friend. Here, let me have that. I'll copy it out and add Reese's name. He takes the document from you and sets it by a blank sheet, laboriously but very neatly copies it word for word except for the name of the condemned. That he changes to Reese, then he signs it and gives a copy to you. And so now we have a forged letter. There, let that dry a moment, and then take it to the overseer at the gibbet. Don't worry, he'll sense nothing amiss. Chief Justice's signature was flawless, if I do say so myself. Alright, we'll finish this quest, and with that we will then... And that even puts us in the right spot to talk to the cult and find out where we're meant to go next. So that should be good. Come on. Yeah, good. I think that will be a very good stopping point. All I need to do is remember what I'm doing for next week. Because they will take us... Well, if we can find out where the guy is, we can then do the next piece of the puzzle, which is find out what we're meant to do to fix the resonance chamber. But we're not really meant to be wandering around and taking people to it, so... Okay, music's up. Circus is up. And let's go to the gibbet. The Flibbity Gibbet. I mean, this place. Oh, I like that automatically choosing to run because we picked a distant point. That's very nice. So you, Yeen. Yes, sir, how can I help you? This man has a full pardon. Release him immediately. He looks over the stay of execution, paying close attention to the signature. Finally he nods. This is all in order. One moment. He turns and calls to the levies. Unmake the death of the condemned and set him free. He is pardoned. Once there were things other than hate in her eyes. Now it is all alone. There you are, sir. All taken care of. Done. Just saved a man's life. As the levies marched off and the crowd disperses, Reese stands by the gibbet, not quite recovered from his ordeal. If you're the one who got me out of that nightmare, thank you, but where's that? His eyes settle on Tibber. There you are, you slippery bastard. Now where's the money? If I went through all that hell for nothing, I'll... 2 days, Tibber. I spilled my guts up there for 2 days. There's hardly anything left of me. Yes, about the money. You see, Elise, I was hoping to get a reward for turning in the fellow who sold us that brandy without telling us its secrets, but... But? There's always a but when it comes to money, isn't there? You have it every day, except the day you're supposed to help a friend. I should have known. You only said you'd pay me so I wouldn't squeal on you, and you only saved my skin to save your own. Now am I gonna have to fight through your friend to get you, or are you gonna step out from behind him and take it like a man? Calm down, both of you. Tell from the beginning. There isn't much to tell. Captain Silvertongue here talked me into a dirty job, then disappeared like an abacus and left me holding the bag when it all went sour. Oh, Reese, can you blame me for running when I had a chance? You would have done the same. And besides, if we hadn't, we'd both have been on that gibbet with no one to free either of us. Lucky that, if my tattooed friend hadn't come along, we'd both be executed in any case. You only wanted to free me because you knew you'd be next on the block once the Devourer ate me. The Devourer of wrongs can read minds of the dead. The Dendra O'Hur consume our memories without flesh. They know everything by the time they've finished eating us, and Tybin, you had have plenty of memories of him, didn't you, you coward? Who were they? Cultists who ate human flesh to gain the wisdom of the dead. The city's been using as post-mortem judges for years. The Devourer would have found you guilty, Tiber? Is this true? As far as it goes, he would have learned about me if he'd eaten Reese, and I did manage to escape the levies when they showed up to look for us, but I didn't abandon you, lad. Reese, I escaped the levy and saved you from the Devourer of wrongs because I love you and I don't want you to see me die. You have to believe me. Escaping the levies was just good luck, that much is true. Do I? I'm with Reese on this, Tiber. Oh, let's go with what was the job. What Tiber told me was we were transporting black market booze to Mirage Voila. What he didn't tell me was that he'd hidden state secrets in one of the bottles using some liquid Numenera trick, which turned a slap on the wrist crime into a damn death sentence. Death sentence? Oh, sorry. Death sentence? You're alive, aren't you? I'd have told him eventually ignorance was supposed to keep him safe. That's as may be, but you seem to know when the levies were going to come calling. The council somehow got a wind of the deal and came after us. Funny how I was the only one home when they knocked on the door. I'm gonna go with Tiber. You should make amends, Therese. That's right, you can start by giving me my share of the spoils. Therese, you don't know what you're talking about. I never got paid, I promise you. This is never your self-serving bastard. Hide behind your friend if you like, but he won't keep you safe forever. Well, you're dead, Tiber, you hear me? Dead! That didn't work out as well as I guess Tiber was hoping. And with that ominous warning, we will leave it for today. If you've been enjoying these videos, please use that like and subscribe button. It's really important to get feedback. In fact, leave a comment, let me know what you think, let me know what I could do to improve, and please have a great day. Thanks. Bye.